Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to day 19 of the Halloween movie review series. And today I am going to be doing Saw 3D, the final chapter. Yes, right. This is pretty much the final Saw that I'm going to be reviewing up until October 27th, 2017, when the 8th one comes to theaters. But this is pretty much the final Saw in installment. And originally this was supposed to be the end. You could argue because of what happened, the events that happened to John Kramer and the third one, that technically should have been the end, but they kept going and going. And yes, the films were good, but taking Jigsaw out of it as a point of being alive kind of affected the film. And I don't think the film ever truly recovered. While you had 6, that was great, but man, those box office numbers didn't do them justice. I think because people didn't like 5 as much, and I actually I'm probably going to be one of the few people that did like 5. Like I said, I didn't think it was as great as the first 4, but I thought, 5 was a good film. 6 was a step up, but this one was not the case. This one was not good, and it all has to kind of do with the acting, the story, and I think what happened was what made Saw such a great series was that it was kind of more it really wasn't a slasher film. Like I like slasher films, obviously you can tell because I did the Halloween franchise reviews first, but Saw was more of kind of like a drama-based type of movie. Like it was one of those horror movies, but it was more of a scientific-based horror movie where nobody would really get there would be logics and stuff like that. Here, it was just a slasher film, and it was pretty stupid. The games were stupid. Pretty much, the games in this movie made no sense, and compared to what the games we've gotten before, these games just were lazy. They weren't really put together very well, and I didn't really like that as much either. You had some of the characters. I can't really say the acting of set characters was bad, but just the characters themselves weren't good. And you also had, this just wasn't good. This one's bad too because literally it took them. It's taken them 7 years to finally come up with the 8-1. They finally said this can't be the end. It's got to be there has to be more, and they've literally had to wait 7 years for a new Saw. And yeah, overall that's just kind of shows how bad this was. So I'm going to kind of go over the production of how it was made and stuff. So let's get it. I'm just going to read the article. I didn't really do any research on it. But it was reported in July of 2009 that Lionsgate announced that Dave Hackler was going to return to direct the film, and this was the first one he's done since Saw 5. Producers Mark Berg and Orrin Coles, and writers Patrick Milton and Marcus Dunstan also returned. Brian Gage replaced series cinematographer David Armstrong. Pre-production began on September 14th, 2009. According to Milton, there were plans to title the film Saw Endgame. Originally, 2 sequels were planned after the 6th, but in December 2009, Milton just stated in a podcast interview with the UK radio station Demon FM that Saw 7 was the final installment and would address unanswered questions from the previous Saw film, such as the fate of the first film's protagonist, Dr. Lawrence Gordon, and other Jigsaw survivors from previous films, while bringing a final resolution to the series. The storyline for Saw 7 was combined into the storyline for Saw 8 was combined into Saw 7. This decision was primarily due to Saw 6's below average box office performance. That was bad. On July 22nd, 2010, in an interview with USA Today, the producers confirmed that Saw 7 was officially will officially end the film series. And he even quotes by saying, in every Saw movie, we're left with questions open, and in Saw 7, we answer every question the audience has ever had. He added, even new viewers will be able to follow and get caught up to speed. And then they just kind of talk about Kevin Grieber was gearing up to he was about to direct for Paramount's Paranormal Activity 2, but then he got brought up with this project, so he decided to do this. It was supposed to be 2 separate films, but the studio got nervous and were only allowed to make 1 more. It says it was our original intention to make the Saw but when Saw 6 didn't do so pretty much because of the lack of success of Saw 6, they didn't really want to take a chance that Saw 7 was going to have the same type of success, so they wanted to make just 1 big film. Then, and that's pretty much about it. And I've already kind of gone through who does all the acting and all that stuff. The movie itself came out on October 29th, 2010, so just before Halloween. It's always nice to have a horror movie. I think October should be the month when horror movies come out because that's always around Halloween season, and I've noticed that's been a pattern. Horror movies are kind of what psych people up for Halloween. I think because Halloween's known for the spirits and the ghouls and all that stuff, so that's why it should be Halloween themed. And yeah, this movie, I'm trying to remember where it starts. This movie, so yeah, they finally went there with Dr. Gordon. They finally said what happened to him. My opinion, it was probably 7 well, in this case, 6 films too late. I heard they did want to get him for the 6th film, but then he was busy doing other the actor that played him was busy doing other projects. But I don't care. They could have done this years ago. Yes, it made for Saw 7 as more of a hype, but yeah, it didn't really. It was kind of like, what took you so long? Why did you wait so long to say what happened to him? You just kind of finally came to your senses, and obviously, I think doing it in 3D. Now, obviously, I didn't really think Saw looked that great in 3D. Just my opinion. It didn't really work in 3D, and there's a reason now we know why it was denied during the last film, because it really didn't look that great in 3D. Saw isn't one of those 3D type of movies. Had we had the traps maybe in the 6th one, because here these traps were awful. So yeah, then the movie kicks off. We meet these guys. It kicks off right with the Saw game. Jigsaw's done it right in front of the public for some unknown reason. It was stupid. This game was stupid. So pretty much, there's these guys, and their names are Brad, Ryan, and they're chained to a couple of power saws, and then they have the girlfriend Dina, who's chained up, and like an actual like power saw is gonna kill her. So we find out that pretty much that she's been playing both of them. They have been pausing her game, and we find out that she's caused them to get in trouble and driven a wedge between themselves. This was a stupid reason to be brought into a Jigsaw game. So pretty much this woman screwed herself and these guys over. Why did Jigsaw need to get involved in this? Why was this done in front of the public? Because it was done in front of everybody. Where the hell were the cops? They didn't show up till the game coincidentally was almost over. Oh, what a great cops we had there. This just doesn't feel like Jigsaw. Like, it just was stupid. This was a stupid game. And this was just done. It's so hokey, and No, it just was not enjoyable at all. And then John, they have to push the Shaws towards each other to save one of them. But then they realize that they can just kill her because she's not worth their lives. So that's exactly what happens. And quite frankly, did the scene look cool when she got cut? Yes, but you didn't need to show it. It actually would have had more effect. Because what I like about certain horror movies is that the effect's better when you actually don't see the person get killed or you don't see the person get cut or something. Here, they went all the way with it. And it just wasn't necessary. And then obviously afterwards, you see why do I keep wanting to call him David Hoffman? Mark Hoffman. Detective Mark Hoffman. This is after the events of him getting tested by Jill and after she tried to murder him. He walks off, sews his mouth shut, and because his mouth needed to be sewed, and Jill hides from him. Jill later on goes to tell Detective Matt Gibson about it. She wants protection, and she'll give him any type of information he wants to know about Jigsaw. Detective Matt Gibson sucked as a character. The actor wasn't that good either. Like, this was no Peter Strahm. This was no this was no Erickson. This was no Tapp. This was none of them. Allison Carey. He was just not that good of a character. He was trying to come off like he was some badass guy when he wasn't. So he says that at first he says that she's crazy, but then when she tells him that Detective Hoffman's involved in this, he's all interested all of a sudden. Then later on he finds out that she's actually killed him before. Detective Hoffman is sending tapes warning him that he's going to kill his entire police force if he doesn't give him Jill, if he doesn't bring Jill to him. Later on, they set up another game with a bunch of teenagers who are racist. What a weird reason to be put into a Jigsaw game. Oh, you're racist. I get being racist isn't a great thing, but it was just stupid. This game, it does kind of tie into the story later on, but it just wasn't that good. It was unwinnable, pretty much. So they one of them was glued. There was a guy that was glued to his name was I believe his name was Evan. He was glued to the chair and to a car, and he had to pull a lever and prevent everybody from dying. And if not, a series of events was going to happen where everyone was going to die. He fails. How the hell was he going to succeed? He had 90 seconds. He was glued onto this chair good, and there was no possible way that he was going to survive that. Unwinnable, unacceptable, uninteresting, and unbelievable. So, of course, they all die, because how could you succeed in that game? And then, yeah, later on they find this guy. There's an explosion, unnecessary explosion. The explosion does have a purpose, but they just wanted to get an explosion in there, and the car just blows up, and this distracts people, and then something happens with that later on, blah, blah, blah. We also meet this guy, Bobby, and he pretty much faked that he was this Jigsaw survivor. He said that he put two like hooks into his pectoral muscles and had to connect a cord to it, and we find out he just did this for money and fame, but he's faking it. Everybody believes him except certain people. He even goes to a ton of Jigsaw survivors where you saw Simone still hasn't learned a lesson from what happened with Jigsaw. Dr. Gordon shows up there randomly and congratulates him and commends him for all this publicity. What the hell? Out of all the times you could have brought in Dr. Gordon, you brought him in for this scene, and you don't see him the rest of the movie up until the end, but still, like, it didn't mean anything. So then later on, Bobby gets kidnapped, and his wife, Joyce, gets kidnapped as well. He's got to play through Jigsaw's game and his game because he lied. Why would Jigsaw, like, what was Bobby thinking? Did he not think that there was going to be consequences? Like, he knows that these people have been abducted by Jigsaw, so he lies saying that he's been in a Jigsaw game knowing that he's never been abducted before. Knowing that Jigsaw wouldn't do something about it. What a fucking idiot. So he has got to go through these series of tasks if he wants to reach his wife. He's got to pull out a key from his, like his business attorney or whatever, his publicist. And she screams too loud. There's these drills that are gonna go right through her throat, and there's like a hook inside. There's a fish hook like right inside of her with the key in it. So how could you win that game? How is someone gonna pull out a fish hook out of you, and you expect not to scream? That's unwinnable. The trap was stupid. That was dumb. Of course it fails, because how could you succeed in that? Oh, someone's going to pull out a fish hook and you're expecting not to scream. That's going to go very well. And of course he just acts really bad afterwards. Like, I told you to shut the fuck up. It was stupid. Obviously it's something that even gets even stupider was like, he had to throw this. This wasn't like too bad of a trap. But of course, there was another one he had to save. I believe her name was Suzanne, where there was these nails that were gonna go right through into her mouth and eyes and just kill her. And Tommy had to hold it up with the machine, but it was hurting his ribs. Of course, he fails that because, well, he does, because how his ribs hurt. So that one I guess was winnable, but it was so stupid where the Billy dog just came right through the window. It was supposed to be like one of those stupid jump scares. It was dumb. And then he finds this book that John Kramer had autographed, and they show flashbacks of him wanting to say he survived Jigsaw. Then he has to later on throw his friend Cal the key, of course, and he has to walk on a lot of these ledges. And the whole thing is Cal can't see him, but he can hear him, and Cal has to listen to him. I didn't think that trap was that bad. He tries to throw him the key. He drops it. He gets hung. Then he has to pull out his teeth to get the combinations to get to his wife, Joyce. And as this happens, Joyce continues to get lower and lower. And she's eventually down on all fours like a dog. And then he has to do the same trap to save her life. He tells her that he lied, and she's upset with him. He fails that to him. He was right there. He had literally 20 seconds left. All he had to do was lift himself even more, and he would have been able to do it. But of course, he was a little too low. All he had to do was lift himself up a little bit more, go like that. He would have won. That game, like, that was the easiest of all of his challenges. Like, again, it doesn't feel good to have, like, hooks be placed into your pectorals, but all he had to do was pull up the chain and connect the thing this much. He had to pull up the chain this much more, and instead he was a little bit off. And of course there's an electric fence around her. He's not going to get up there in time, so he tries to save her. He gets electrocuted. She burns to death. The burn death looked pretty gruesome. And then after this happens, Gibson's continuing to trying to find Hoffman. We find out Hoffman saved his life before. A guy tried to jump Gibson, and Hoffman just killed him because he was saving his life. And he found out that he reported him for it, and Hoffman got sent away, or he got sent away, something like that. And then him and Hoffman have known each other. He goes into this room, and he finds a door, and we find out that Hoffman actually, that it wasn't Hoffman that was in there. It was the dead body of the people in the car from the first scene, from the Saw game scene. We find out that that Hoffman's actually in one of the body bags, and there's a machine gun that pops out and kills everyone, including Gibson. And then Hoffman just kills the entire police force. There was one thing I liked where he kills the secretary, and he to get Roger's attention, because he was guarding Jill Tuck, because she was staying like in a safety area. He uses the dead secretary to knock on the door. I thought that was actually clever. And then he kills Rogers by shooting him right through the eye. Jill tries to escape. She stabs him in the throat with a needle, and nothing happens. He just pulls it right out and doesn't he completely just walks it off. He was just stabbed in the throat, and he's able to walk off all fine. Like, he was stabbed right here, and he was able to walk off all fine. Wow. That was stupid. It wasn't like he was just cut. He was stabbed. It's bad. But then eventually he finds Joe Tuck, and he kills her with the reverse bear trap. He burns down Jigsaw's workshop, and he's going to go on the run. He gets attacked by 3 guys in pig masks. And we find out that the guy is Dr. Gordon. Now, this would have been so much more if we hadn't already seen Dr. Gordon in the opening scene. This would have meant so much more. Because, you pretty much knew with the way Dr. Gordon was acting in that first scene that he was going to be working for Jigsaw. They gave it away. There was no plot twist about it. So I thought they ruined it. They shouldn't have. If it was me, I would have even had brought Dr. Gordon in up until that point. We find out, though, that Dr. Gordon, this was the person that Joe Tuck sent the tape to. And we find out, and it's a tape of Jigsaw, John Kramer just before he died. And it kind of shows what Dr. Gordon was doing. It shows Jigsaw, or John Kramer, whoever you want to call him, putting a prosthetic foot on him. We find out that if it wasn't for Dr. Gordon, all of his work throughout the past few years wouldn't have been possible. He's been his best asset. He was the one that put the key through that kid's eye in the second film, where he had to gouge his eye out to get the key. I don't remember the kid's name off it. I think his name was Moke. And then he also had sewn the guy's eyes so they couldn't see him. He also is the one that found Nurse Lynn, and he did it all. And he John Kramer asks Dr. Gordon to watch over Jill, and if anything happens to her, to react immediately. And he says that if he does, he won't keep any more secrets from him. So he changed he changed Detective Hoffman to the same chain that Adam was chained to in the first Saw film. And Hoffman was going to use the saw, and Dr. Gordon grabs it and is like, I don't think so. And he throws the saw like a frisbee, and Hoffman's upset. He's like, you can't do this to me. And then Dr. Gordon says game over, and the movie ends. I gotta say, though, the last 15 minutes of this movie were awesome. I really enjoyed Dr. Gordon being revealed as being an accomplice to John Kramer, and him killing off Hoffman. I thought that was actually awesome. I didn't hate that at all. I actually think that Dr. Gordon's going to do a really good job in the role now. However, that being said, it would have been better if we hadn't seen him already. If it was me, we wouldn't have seen John. I would have kept this part where it shows him in the beginning, just after he's crawling away from the game. But I would have completely gotten rid of that scene. You wouldn't have seen him at all. But this movie was not good. This isn't Halloween 2009 bad, but this is not good. I don't think it's like, at least this is not 2 hours. It's only an hour and a half. So that's at least good. But yeah, I think this, this definitely isn't one of the greatest. This is probably the worst Saw, and it's not a good movie. It's largely boring. The traps aren't well thought out. And another thing that makes this bad is you bring back Dr. Gordon. And even though I did say that you wouldn't have seen him till the end, he should have been featured a little bit more. Especially if this was going to be like the final chapter. You should have kind of featured him a little bit more. John Kramer had I don't think he was in this film really at all, except when he was talking to Bobby throughout the film, and when he was in the end towards Dr. Gordon. The lack of John Kramer's character definitely didn't help the film. And that's pretty much all I have to say. You really don't need to see this movie. like I said, this movie, I've kind of went through it. This movie is so bad. It literally took 7 years to film to finally make Saw 8. I think they realized this cannot be the last of Saw. And I think this movie is so bad, that it looks, from the trailers that I've been seeing, it looks like that they're going to make that kind of like its own thing. Like, it's not going to be a remake, but it's going to be its own entity. It's not going to really follow up what happened, which kind of makes me mad a little bit, because I kind of want to see Dr. Gordon and kind of take control of this and see what was going on with him, as he was a part of John Crane Jigsaw's game, and after everything happened. But at the same time, they're going to probably mess it up. I think it's time to bring John Kramer back as a live figure. That's going to be tough, though, because you're going to you would have to either do a prologue, which is like before the like before the movie was made, or you're gonna have to I don't know. I'm glad they're not doing a remake, because I think doing a remake would be a mistake. That would definitely just come, because I'm like one of those people that I don't mind remakes, but the things I don't like about remakes is you could clearly see that it's just a money grab type of thing, where the company just wants to make money again. And that's like the some things I don't like about remakes is, as much as I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go see this movie, I'm like, why do they have to do a remake of this? Like, for example, Halloween, they didn't really need to do a remake, they just wanted to make money, and that's what happened. So yeah. But overall, if I had to rate this movie, I'm just rambling on, I'm going to rate it it's not good. I don't think it's unwatchable, I don't think. I think you can watch this movie and get some enjoyment out of it. But I don't think it's particularly good. I think this movie's about a 4 out of 10. It's just largely boring, largely not creative, nonsensical, just not really good. The critics tore this movie apart when it came out. The movie, though, let's see how the movie itself did. The movie, though, in box office draws, was a huge increase. It was $136.1 million. They got to add that 1 cent in there, too. But overall, box office draws, it was way better than it was way better than Saw 6. I think it definitely was an upgrade. But yeah, the movie itself was a huge downgrade. If only this had been the box office draw for Saw 6, then maybe Saw 7 would have had a better conclusion to it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this movie. I don't really know what else to say. Now let me go. I'm just gonna go through the cast real quick. You had Tobin Bell back as John Kramer, Costa Mendiler back as Detective Mark Hoffman. I actually am kind of sad to see Mark Hoffman go. I actually enjoyed his character. I don't think he was as great as I remembered him being, but he was a good character in this movie. I think what kind of sucked is he came into the franchise when John Kramer died, and I think what ruined his character was I think if Amanda and Dr. Gordon had been put in his position, I think people would have crapped whoever was in that position. But I think he was a good character. He was a little bit bland at times. I think he could have showed a little bit more personality. But he did nail that out of the park when he had to. You had Joe Tuckley, Betsy Russell. I thought she did a pretty good job in her character. Dr. Lawrence Gordon was Carrie E. Lewis. He did a great job. Like, when Dr. Gordon is a great, like, villain. Like, he has become mad. And I really, it's kind of sucks that we're not going to be able to see what they can do more with it, because it looks like he's not going to be in the 8th film. But it's going to be awesome. Joyce Dagan was played by Gina Holden. She wasn't that good of a character. Bobby Dagan was played by Sean Patrick Flannery. He was an awful character. I wanted him to die because he deserved it. So, Detective Matt Gibson was Chad Donella. You know what I have to say about him. Rogers was played by Lawrence Anthony. Cal was played by Dean Armstrong. Nina was played by Naomi Snickis. Susan Rebecca was played by Rebecca Marshall. Dr. Hefner was played by James Van Patten. Brad was played by Sebastian Pigot. Ryan was played by John Core. Dina was played by Anne Green. Evan was played by Chester Britton. I think those were all the people that were in that car trap. Dan was played by Drew Vergever. Kara was played by Gabby West. I don't know if there's any relation to Adam West. I think that would be like one of the first things that it would say. Jake was played by Benjamin Klost. Sydney was played by Olnick. I don't know how to say his last name. Her last name, whatever. Alex was played by Ish Morris. Corona was played by Carlos Diaz. Simon was played by Tandra Howard. She was back. I really wish they did more with her. I think she should have been in these film series a lot more, because she's actually a pretty good character. And she won a competition to get in this movie. You'd think they would give her more. Tara Abroat was played by Shauna McDonald. Addie, Janie Hutchinson. Malik was played by Greg Brick. Emily, Larissa Gnomes, Trevor, Kevin Rushton, and Michael Marks was played by Norm Jenkins. Alright, so that's my, that is the end of this video. I'm just gonna stop talking. So, please make sure you guys, give this video a like, a comment, and a share. And also make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content. I haven't looked at them yet today, but as of when I last looked, I'm at 490 subscribers. If I get 10 more subscribers, I will do a 500 subscriber shout out video, and you guys could possibly get shouted out. Maybe I'll do something a little bit special. Maybe I'll do something funny. I don't know. Also make sure you click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys will get the notification for it. The next series, by the way, that I'm going to be doing, because obviously now that I've finished the Saw series up until October 27th, 2017, I got to find a new series, and I'm going to move away from the horror movie franchise for a little bit, and I am going to do Ghostbusters next. I haven't seen Ghostbusters in quite a while, so some of them haven't seen it all, so we're going to wait and see about how this turns out. So I remember generally liking the first one, and I've seen bits and pieces of the second one, and I haven't seen the one that was just made last year, so that's going to be interesting. So make sure you guys check in. So the next 3 days are going to be all Ghostbusters, and then after that I will announce what the next series is going to be. I figured I'd get away from the horror movie franchise for a little while and move on to, because I don't want people are thinking that Halloween just needs to be horror movies. I want kind of to have diversity, so there's going to be comedy. I probably shouldn't use the word diversity when I'm talking about movies. That's weird. But anyhow, we're going to talk about comedy. I want to get a family movie in here, and, I want it to have everything. So yeah, make sure. The next one, though, is going to be Ghostbusters. I'm going to do 1, 2, and the one in 2016. And also make sure you guys check out my CM Brothers channel for more content. I need to get that channel going again. I haven't really posted that much stuff on it in about a month or so. So I will get something going on there. And click on the bell so that way if I get something going on there, you guys would know about it. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.